Hi everyone, Zach here, and welcome to Lesson 17 in this series on developing a survival game. In this video, we'll continue with our inventory system by adding our child classes for our items, and these will impact upon what we can do with the items in our inventory. That said, this series has been brought to you by my Patreon sponsors, and all of that said, open up your project and let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome back to the editor, and I'm going to apologize if my voice is slightly off today. Unfortunately, I had a slight accident with some of my recording equipment, and I actually have a bit of a problem from that. Hopefully it will be resolved by the next recording. That said, today we're actually going to set up our items, or at least the structure we're going to use for our items. That said, in section 4, I will be presenting two different methods. Actually, I'll be presenting like 4 different methods to do the same thing. However, 2 of those methods will be exactly the same, just achieved in using 2 different routes. All right, I know that's going to be really confusing, so simply put, we're going to use the foliage painter for one method, we're going to use hand placing for one method, and then we're going to use 2 different approaches to do procedural generation of some of our resources. It's those 2 approaches that will be doing the same thing, procedural generation, but in 2 different ways. With that said, that has influenced the structure I will be using. So, before we create the structure, there's some little last minute setups I want to do with our items. So we're going to go to our item master. We are going to go to our construction script, and in here we're going to create a new bool. Well, not in here, but we will create a new bool in the master called b adjust collision offset. I'm going to compile. I want that default to false. And I'm just going to select this node and the 2 reroutes. I'm going to put a bit of a space there. And then we're going to have a branch. And then plug the true back in. And if this is true, then we want to adjust the collision offset. I am going to make this something that's instance editable. You know what I'm trying to say. I really do avoid that word. I'm going to put it in the bool category. I'm going to compile and save. Let's go back to the map and take a look what's happened here. There's a reason why that was embedded slightly. It's now around the box correctly. So the items that will need the adjustment, we're able to adjust. But hey, we've done it. But let me just move that again. That's what happens when it's true, when it's false. And yes, we will need this for some of our items. All right, and the next step was going to be create the B was discarded. We haven't used it yet. If you haven't created it, go ahead and create it now. I am not sure what happened here that I have it and I haven't done anything with it yet. So what we're going to do here is create another branch. We are going to leave that on the true. We're going to apparently move all of this a little bit further down. All right, now what we're going to do down here is we are going to get our was discarded. We are going to do not, because we're typically going to run on that true branch. So if it was discarded, we're now going down the false branch. So what we're going to do if it was discarded is we're going to get our item mesh. We are going to set simulate physics. You know what? We're going to actually, we'll set this up because we won't see why this is where. We're setting this up in advance, I believe, for the next couple of videos, or next several videos. We're going to mark this as true. We will not see the effect of this until we have all our menus in place. So I'm going to show you a bug. This is a solution to that bug. This solution will not work for a bit because we will not set the was discarded until we get to our menus. Our menus are what's going to set that value. Set enable gravity. This is true. Plug that into there. All right, and now the fun one. We're going to pull off of here and do set collision profile name. Sorry if you can hear my neighbor's dog barking in the background, or the birds. Now, I want you to select your item mesh for a moment. And I want you to Oh, it's already preset to that. But these are our preset names, and we are going to just do block all dynamic. So block all dynamic goes into our collision name profile. That said, we are doing that because some of our meshes might override what our profile is, and that's fine. In some cases, we're going to want to, actually. Because dancing trees are not always a good thing. All right, with that done, well, I hate to say this to you, test cube, but it's time to say goodbye. Bye, test cube. You were a friendly test cube. You will be missed, test cube. Test cube 01, goodbye. Oh, well, I guess I'll save all before I destroy you completely, test cube. Farewell, test cube. You were an excellent test cube. All right, sorry for that joke. This is gonna get a bit complicated because we're gonna have multiple children and then sub-children. We're gonna create 3 primary children. So I'm gonna create a child. Actually, I'm gonna create the folders for those children first. One will be equipment. I might actually have more than I'm thinking about this. One will be resources. And one will be utility. All right, I'm gonna right click this and I'm gonna create names matching that. So one will be BP, equipment master. Let's just move our equipment master in there. One will be our BP resource master. We're gonna move that one in there. And we're gonna see a second bug with the was discarded with that one in a moment. And the third will be horse BP utility master. And we're gonna move that in there. All right, we're gonna pop over to our equipment folder. In here, we're gonna create one folder first called weapons. All other equipment will come directly from the equipment master. Create a blueprint class of BP weapons. Oddly enough, I don't think we really need the weapons master. I don't really think we need this master file. I mean, I end up using it, but I'm just thinking about my own structure now that might be a better way to do it. And resources, we're gonna have food, and we are going to have construction. So we're gonna create one child for each of these. So BP construction resource master. That can go in there. Actually, not just construction, but meh. And then BP food master. And here's where I silently kick myself for the mistake I just might have made doing that. So I'm going to open up our resource master first. In our resource master, we're going to go to our construct script. What we're going to do here is we're going to do first a branch. And we're going to do our was discarded. If we were discarded, we're going to do nothing special. If we're not discarded, we're going to go off this false branch, and we are going to do amount to add. We're going to set it here. So we're going to make it dynamic. So pull off of false of amount, or item amount. Sorry, I forgot I renamed that in the last video. So we have item amount. We're going to do a new variable called base amount. And this will be of type integer. And actually, I lied. We're going to do one more branch in here. We're going to create one more Boolean. And this will be B was spawned. It will be of type Boolean. This will be a bool. Base amount will be a world setting. All right. And we're going to default the was spawned to true. We're going to place that there. We're going to run this off the true. If we were not discarded and we were spawned, then this is true. So, or then we're setting this. What we're going to do is we're going to take a base amount, which we're going to set per item, but we're going to default it to 1 for now. And we are going to multiply that by the volume of our mesh. So we're going to take our item mesh, we're going to get world scale, or actually we're going to take it by the volume of the world scale, I guess. We're going to break the vector, And we are going to multiply these together. You could use vector length if you prefer, but that just gives you the square of these times added together and the square root of it. I like this better because then I know that it's at scale of 1, the value will be 1. We are going to then multiply this by an integer, and the integer is our base amount. We will set the amount, oh, actually we're going to round. Sorry, that gives us a truncate if we do that automatically. We want to round. And what we're doing here is we are literally just taking the size of the object and setting our scale if the item spawned in. So if we use a procedural spawner, if we use a foliage painter, this will set the amount, the item amount based on the base amount and the size that's being randomly allocated to it. If we mark this as false, then, well, whatever value we put in. Of course, if something is spawned in, we can easily override this. That's fair enough and easy enough to do. All right, next, what we're going to do, we're going to go back to our food master, though. We're going to go to our event graph here, and we are going to override our onConsumed. So we want the event onConsumed. And we are going to get our player character. We are going to find out if they're hungry because we only want to consume if they are not at full hunger, which means they're at fullness. So I believe we named that I get hunger. And long live the isotopes. The isotopes will remain in Springfield. They will not go to Albuquerque. Was it Albuquerque? Ooh, I could be misremembering that. I might have ruined my own joke. We're going to pull off and we're going to check, is this less than 100? If it is, what we're going to do is a branch, and we will consume the food. If it isn't, we are going to destroy the actor. Now, to explain the destroy actor here, when we use an item, it will temporarily spawn in a dummy version of the item so that we can get the information from it. We want that spawned in one to get destroyed regardless. Actually, we destroy it in either case, by the way. So the way that our consumed food is going to work, we're going to just start with a little bit of a dummy setup here. And it's not going to be fully functional. That's fine. We're going to get our player character again. In fact, we're going to collapse this down to a function in a few videos. We are going to iSet. Oh, no, we haven't created that yet. So let's create that interface. I just realized that isn't pinned into the correct window. Let's go to our interfaces folder under core. Let's go to iPlayerCharacter. And in iPlayerCharacter, we are going to, in our stats, create a new function called I for interface set hunger. And we are going to just plug in this to stats with a new input called delta hunger. This will be of type integer. We're going to compile and save. And now we go back to here. We get our player character. There we go. In our player character, we will do our iSet hunger. And we had this delta hunger thing. So what are we going to do with this delta hunger? Well, we're going to create a new variable called increase amount. And this is how much we're going to fill the character's stomach by. And this is going to be of type float. And we will just have this be, we'll call this our food value. It will belong to category master. And after that point, well, we can't do much. We're going to end up destroying the actor again down here, but we have part of our consume event set up. All right, with that done, let's go back to our main actor folder here. Let's go to our resources. We are not going to do anything with any of the other resources today, but what we are going to do is set up 2 test food items, because by the end of this, we should have our food working. We'll, in the next section, set up 2 test equipment items and weapon items. Sorry, we're going to do a flashlight, 1 test body armor, and 1 test weapon. We're going to create 2 children of this class. One will be BP Herb Master. And let's pop open BP Herb Master real quick. Let's go to item. You know what? I've made a very big mistake. Let's go back to our Food Master real quick. Set the item class to Food Master. Compile, save. Let's go back to our herb master now. Let's set our class to herb. In our herb master, we are going to also just make sure everything in here is set right. It is consumable. It is harvestable. It is consumable. It is stackable. The text for all of these will be, actually, hang on. Don't set that. We're going to close this for a second. I should have done this part first. This will be, our consume text will be eat. All right. And typically, well, they'll all be consumable. So we're going to mark that as true as well. Leave everything else as is. Let's go back to our herb master. And there we go. Eat is in there, thank God. Okay, that's fine. We are then going to create a, well, meat master, I guess. BP meat master. That just sounds so weird. I mean, I'm about to create something called a meat cube in a second, so. The reason for the meat master versus the herb master is the meat will be automatically picked up. So it is not harvestable, and you'll choose based on the type of meat if it's stackable or not. We're going to do stackable as default for now, though. Make sure that this is set to be meat master. Compile and save. I'm going to double check I did that for herb. Yep. All right, now the mistake I made besides that is we have to go back and now double check our construction master. Its class is set to construction master. It will also be harvestable. It will also be consumable. It will also be stackable. Our use text here will be use, at least for now. We're probably going to override this later on, to be fair. Mostly because I haven't decided how I want that to display yet. And let's go back to our, we've done food and construction. Let's go back to our equipment. Equipment master. Our equipment master. We are going to set this to be of type equipment. It will be harvestable. It will be consumable. It will be equip as our default text. Our item class is equipment master. And we're actually going to update this down the road. Same for weapon. We'll take care of that down the road as well. So we'll ignore weapon. Let's do utility. Our utility master will be tool in this case. It will be blank on everything else. We're going to set that all down the road. We'll set this to utility master for now, though. All right, sorry about the little bit of a jump there on the screens. I had to close the engine right after I said my engine's bugging out. And all I've done is open everything back up and double check that the settings actually took. Because last time this happened to me, the settings didn't take. So it looks like everything is in place for what we need to do to finish out this video and to get us ready for the rest of this section. We're going to go to our food here, and we're going to create a child of the herb master, which will be BP herb test 01. All right, let's pop this open. We're going to set a static mesh this time of capsule. Oh, yeah, so I don't have starter content on this version of it. And as I said, we can just do an add new. We're going to add a content feature, and we'll go to content packs. We'll go to starter pack. Add to project. Don't think we're going to use anything else in the starter pack. So if you really don't want to use the capsule, that's fine. I am not going to put this in the commit for GitHub, clearly. I'm going to pause while this is initializing. All right, with that starter content added in, actually I'm looking at it, there might be some we will be using. I'm going to look for my capsule. I will take my narrow capsule. There we go. Hey, look. We might actually need to adjust the offset on this one. So let's go here and do adjust collision offset. Hey, see, I told you we were going to need it for some of these. All right, and what we're going to do is actually just default this down to about 0.5 by 0.5. Oh, it's locked, so it's doing all 0.5. Awesome. We will say this one isn't spawned in. We are going to do a default add amount of 1 for now. Max stack amount, we'll do 25 for this, and there's a reason for 25. We're going to use this to test, and this will be our herb test. And while we have icons made by Rian, what we're going to do right now is just use a dummy icon to make sure that we're getting our icon. All right, it is bush we are looking for. T, bush, D for diffuse. There we go. It's green. It's herbish. It works. Yay. All right, compile and save. Next, what we're going to do is go to our core, actors, inventory, no, items, resources, food. We're going to grab our meat, and we are going to create a BP meat cube. I'm just going to call it a meat cube at this point. And for our static mesh, well, if you haven't worked out that it's going to be a cube, it's going to be a cube. Say hi to our meat cube. Isn't our meat cube pretty? All right. And I'm not seeing the box collision, which is making me a bit nervous. Where are you, Mr. Collision? Ooh. All right, so, oh yeah, for this one, the custom collision we have to set. So we're gonna set that to 1 by 1 by 1, or 1.5 by 1.5 by 1.5. So we have a bit of a cube around there. There we go. We have our nice little meat cube, and it will be named meat like, or actually not capitalized, meat like product. And we will actually say, let's get this text, a meat like product that restores a lot of, that is very filling. Our texture will be bricks because they're red, and yeah. Oh, which one do I want to use? I think it's that one. Yeah, it's the clay new. The item weight for this will be 140. Go back to the herb test. The item weight for this is 1. The we're missing something. Go back to the food master real quick. Increase amount should be under master. Am I just missing it? Oh, increase amounts at the top there. We're gonna set this to 50 and this to 15. And these are all just test numbers and test values, but they need to be drastically different, and this needs to be close to 150, by the way. In fact, I tend to raise that a bit when we go further in. All right, we'll mark this not as spawned as well. All right, next thing we need to do is we're going to set up the event for our eating in our player character real quick. We're going to go to our character player character, whatever the heck we've named it. And here we just get rid of that for a moment. Let's go over to our hunger system here, and that little space we have down here. So there's gonna be another one. It is I set hunger, the event 1. All right, here what we're gonna do is we're gonna find our stats, hunger. We're gonna do our set hunger here. Remember, this increases their fullness, whereas decrease hunger makes them less full. Ooh. All right, hang on one second. Just pause for a moment. I clearly have made a mistake. That should be a float. I swear I said float. I don't know why it's of integer. So I'm just going to double click it to open it up, select it, change that to float, compile, save. We're going to go back to our food master. We're going to refresh this node. Our increase amount gets plugged into there. That might be why I didn't notice this earlier. There we go. All right, now back to our player character. That goes into there. We're also going to pull off of here again. So I'm just going to put a reroute down here. And we're going to do a, is it less, or sorry, greater than 0? Because if you eat a toxin, it makes you less full. We're going to have a branch here, or more hungry. Makes you vomit, makes you get sick, what have you. Good system mechanics. And we are do our just 8. As I said, down the road, we're going to make that hunger timer dynamic based off of this delta hunger. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to test the items out, not for the eating, but for the stackability. And I'm going to set up some stuff so we can see a bug, by the way, intentionally. First, I'm going to go into our resources food. I'm going to grab our herb test here. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to delete the herb test. Guess the scale originally was correct. Should be 1 by 1 by 1. I want these to be slightly big. All right, I am going to have that one there. I'm going to set that at a value of 1 for the item amount. I'm going to hold Alt and move 1 here. I'm going to set that to a value of 2. I'm going to go back into the herb real quick, and I am going to set the box extent to 1. Okay, except for in the X, I am going to set that to 0.5. All right, I'm gonna compile real quick, and yep, that is getting closer to what I want to show you with this bug. Let's go back to the herb again, make this 1.5 by 1.5. There we go. Now we'll be able to see, I know we'll be able to see the bug. I'm gonna hold this again, and I'm gonna repeat this process of just adding 2 until I have a total of 10. So that's 6, 8, 10. All right, this will show us one bug. The spacing, that is. The increase amount is just to make sure our stacking works. I'm gonna grab a meat cube. Really, meat cube? Oh, that's meat master. Meat cube. Hello, meat cube, you go right there. All right, I'm going to grab another herb test, put that there, give it a stack of 25. We're gonna give this a value of 2. We'll do another meat cube right over here with a value of 1. And we're gonna do another herb test here with a value of 24. And yet another one over here with a value of 24. I realize I just accidentally made another one of these I didn't mean. So now we're gonna test this out. We're gonna hit play. Ooh, let's find that error in our inventory. I have no idea what's causing that error. We haven't touched our inventory. Compile. Amount to add has been changed. We did rename that. Refresh our node. Item amount is amount local now. Plug that in. Save. Sorry, that didn't come up in the last video. And let's test this out. All right, so we walk up to the meat cube. We should pick it up. Meat cube is gone. Uh-oh, something is wrong with our meat cube. Let's pause for a minute. It's set to meat master, so make sure this is set to meat cube. Before we continue, let's go here. It's set to herb master. Let's make sure it is set to herb test 01. All right, now everything should work. We walk up to the cube. Let's go full screen. Pick it up. There are 2 cubes. They weren't stackable, remember. That is 25 right there. Let's pick that up. There's 25 in one stack. This should be 24, so we should have a stack of 24. That's one more cube over there. Sorry, I have the debug still attached. And that's 24, so we should have 25 here in a moment and 23 here in the next moment. All right, let's make sure that works. There we go, 23, 25, like I said. And let's take a look at a bug here. All right, which one am I gonna pick up? Okay. Well, interestingly enough, we might have resolved one of the errors early on, which was that thing doesn't go away and you're still not able to pick it up. One of the other errors is, well, even when I'm colliding with 2, I should still have the prompt come up. So we'll take care of that towards the end of this section. That said, we've done everything we need to get our inventory system functioning. We can see our pickups, we can see our items are working. We actually have a small bug. So let me just quickly figure out what the heck is happening with that bug. And if you didn't see the bug there, that actually should not have said anything. That was not a stackable item. Let me just double check that oh, we need to remove that from our meat. Oh, no. Compile, save. Our meat cube is not stackable. Just the meat cube. That wasn't an error. That was just me not remembering to test one small thing. All right, there are no numbers there. That means it's not stackable. We're good to go. So that said, hopefully you've enjoyed working on your inventory system and seeing the fruits of your labor. All of that said, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button down below. It does help this channel out. It helps people find this channel as well. In addition, if you want to be here when we continue to work on our inventory and actually have utility where we click these, you can discard, eat, cancel, or split stacks, then make sure to hit the subscribe and notify icon so you know when the next video is out. And if you want to copy this product, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Patreon supporters at upper tiers get instant access to all ongoing YouTube projects. Patreon members at other tiers will get access once a project is completed. That said, this series has been brought to you by Patreon sponsors like Quad Menson, Haynes, and Rian. All of that said, I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.